midway through the year, 3/4 of the way through the year, hey, how much income am I going to end up with? How much taxes am I going to pay?
Timing. A lot of this is timing. Don't go spend a lot of money middle of the year or the very beginning of the year because you think all this money is going to come in, therefore you're going to have taxes. And then the next thing the money doesn't come in, now you have this liability. Assets are things that generate income. Liabilities are things that take away your income. When I hear somebody that says, oh man, my tax bill is huge, the first thing I think in my head, either they made a ton of money or they're not growing or they don't like spending it. When I know I have a big tax bill, right? We're young, so we're always trying to push it. Grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So which creates more depreciation, more tax strategies and loopholes. Not really loopholes. It's just we're using the system that is given to us legally. You know what I mean? And we hire smarter people than ourselves to interpret the language that we don't really understand.
That's
and
right.
over time, you understand how the system works, and you learn and you learn and you learn and learn, and you get somewhat schooled up in how this system works, right? We hire really good, smart people around us to school us up as quick as we can and give us a really dead set of parameters to follow. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But when I hear, people that have to pay a lot of taxes, that usually means they made a lot of money.
Yeah. And I think another quick note to think about is if you're getting into business, and a good thing to understand is how much income you're going to make, right? Because we always talk about it. We're like, right about October, November, we're figuring out, hey, what is our tax liability for the year?
Yeah, don't do it the last day of the month.
Don't do it the last day of the month. So, understand that you're going to get taxed on your actual income, right, that comes in. And there's lots of write-offs, different things you can do, as we've been talking about, depending on where you're set, LLC, C Corp, S Corp, whatever. And make sure that you plan accordingly. So don't just, come middle of December go, oh, I better look at this. And then all of a sudden have to figure out how to offset $3 million or $2 million or whatever, right? You got to be kind of planning ahead for that. So another thing that we do is, right around October or so, we'll get together. We'll be like, hey, what's our tax liability? How much do we have to offset? What are we willing to offset? How much can we bonus depreciate? How much should we bonus depreciate, right? And figure out, hey, what are we willing to write off right now? What can we roll for the next year? There's a whole lot to it. But the thought process and understanding is where it starts is, hey, midway through the year, 3/4 of the way through the year, hey, how much income am I going to end up with? Right? To get in your head, hey, how much taxes am I going to pay? What bracket am I going to be in? Am I going to be in the 15? Am I going to be in the 20? Am I going to be in the 30? What have you?
You might be an entrepreneur. In my case, I'm an entrepreneur. So is my wife. But at one point in time, she was a high income earner, W-2 employee.
Mm-hmm.
So she's paying a shit ton of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm an entrepreneur and growing company and heavy asset base, like you mentioned. And I was helping offset some of that. So it was kind of nice. You know what I mean? But don't wake up at the end of the year and realize you're in a situation that you don't have time enough to make good critical decisions that's going to affect you in a positive way, where you're just going doing stupid things. I heard about one guy that's getting audited right now. He bought a jet, and the inspection got done the 29th or like the day before the end of the year, and it was not delivered to his place, so therefore he did not get to put it into service.
Yeah.
So therefore he did not get to take the depreciation of the jet. And when they got audited, they made him pay that back,
which was probably millions of dollars in tax.
It was like $2 million. Yeah. And he's over here freaking out. Yeah. This is a really good friend of ours, but it wasn't a really good deal for him. No, so think ahead. Don't be naive and stupid, and do your own research, folks. Like, your situation is different from some guru writing it on a whiteboard. There's a lot of things you can learn on YouTube. There's a lot of things you can learn on TikTok and Instagram and all these other. There's a lot of smart people on these channels. But do your own research. Verify it. Don't just trust these people. Don't trust me. Verify what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Don't go interview one CPA firm and just trust everything they say. They're human too. They make mistakes. They have niches. You know what I mean? They might not be at the level that you need them to be. Your company might be way too big for them. They might just like do a W-2. If you're doing multis of millions of dollars, probably don't go to H&R Block. Don't go to Liberty Tax. The guy dressing up on the corner, holding up dressed up as Statue of Liberty.
Spinning the sign.
You probably don't want to go there. You're probably not going to get advice. That's a W-2 employee that has a simple tax strategy.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I agree.
But our channel's centered around people that want to become entrepreneurs, that are pushing the limits, that are trying to make money, and that eventually will, and hopefully every one of you will watch this, have to think about things that we're talking about.
Yeah. So, I'll let you know a little bit more, what Josh and I both do that we really didn't spend much time talking about it, but it's, we have our holding company, as you said earlier, and that holding company owns some businesses. And then the holding company pays both Josh and I, right? They pay us on what's called a guaranteed distribution to our investment companies, right? Mm-hmm. And what you need to understand is the reason why we do that is because we pay our investment company as a pass-through to our personal. And it's essentially, I hate using this word, but it's a tax shelter for us personally. So keep in mind that your business, right, has ways to divert or strategize against, we'll call it, taxes. And then you have another layer at yourself or right before your personal, which is your own company that you can create. And your taxes or your K1s from the company will then go to directly your investment company that you own.
Which is called, in our case, we consider those as a disregarded entity.
There you go.
Because it flows up to yours, and if you're married or not, it flows up to your personal tax return. But we hold certain companies, and I call them assets. Companies an asset, right? If it's making money, we hold certain assets between real estate, service companies, whatever it may be, Airbnbs, whatever you're into, right? You hold assets in these LLCs, S corp, C corps, whatever. I own them all. And you hold them in these different entities, and all that income or losses flows up to your personal holding company, and then that's a disregarded entity, and then it flows up even further, and it can flow up, in my case, a trust, and then trust, and it gets blah, blah, blah. And it gets protected. But we can dive into that deeper later and how I set things up based off advice I've given. But things change, too. You know what I mean? Like when different presidents come in, they have different agendas, and different states allow you to do certain things, right? And there's timing. A lot of this is timing, right? Don't go spend a lot of money at the middle of the year or the very beginning of the year because you think all this money is going to come in, therefore you're going to have taxes. And then the next thing the money doesn't come in, now you have this liability. I think it's super funny. I buy cars, sometimes to help with the tax issue because it's just an easy way to do it. But it really didn't make sense, but I only got to depreciate 40% of it last year or this year or last year. You know what I mean? And the year before 60, and then it was 100. Point is like, don't just go buy a bunch of liabilities that you still have maintenance on, you still have to house, you still have to insure to defer a small amount of taxes. It does not make sense. You're better off just probably paying your tax rate, moving on. Because then it stops, right? And then, like, real estate has a whole set of tax strategies. That's a perfect example. Let me go into that topic real quick.
Yeah, it's more for you than me.
Yeah, real estate changes all the time, just like everything else. Like right now, a lot of W-2 employees are buying Airbnbs, and they're being able to accelerate, depreciate certain things within that Airbnb. And if it is placed in service like a boat, you buy a lake house, you want to put a boat, the boat comes to the lake house, you can fully depreciate that boat, right? Yeah. And you can do a cost segregation on your property and depreciate your air conditioner and your flooring and your windows and your roofing material and your appliances at a different rate than your typical 27 and a half years, or if it's residential, or different thing if it's different years if it's commercial, right? So you get to take all that, you get to take that off the price of the property and accelerate it and offset some of your gain. So point is, that's just one example of a tax strategy, right? And you can use it to your benefit. Like, you don't think that I'm not buying things that I enjoy that might help offset some taxes. It's going to catch up, but I get to enjoy it now, right?
There's lots of things that are funny little loopholes that you can enjoy.
But you got to, at the end of the day, folks, if you're listen to anything I'm saying, listen to this. Tax strategy is irrelevant if you never start and make income.
Yeah, that's a true fact.
It is irrelevant.
Yeah.
You don't need a tax strategy if you have no income. You need a survival strategy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, take that step like we always talk about. Yeah, take that step, take that leap, and put your best foot forward and fucking move on.
Yeah, then comes tax and protection and inheritance and all these other things when you start making income.
Yep.
You know, you're protecting it by putting in an LLC, protecting it by putting in a C Corp, and how do I pay myself? And what's the best situation for me? What I'm doing. You know what I mean? Not you and not whomever. What's the best situation for me? And then you consult with the people, you tell them your deal, and you go get a couple of different advices. But none of it's relevant if you're not making any money.
That's right. We're assuming everybody's making money that's watching.
So if you're watching this and you're not making any money, go focus your time on making money.
Good point.
Don't focus your time on... People get so caught up in all these things that have no relevance. It does not matter unless you start. You did not need a tax strategy.
If you ain't making no money.
Or if you're not making any money.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? So, but you also, when you start making money, you don't want to go do something stupid and spend money that the IRS is going to eventually go, Mr. Carnley, I need some of my money.
Well, what typically happens is that people overspend, right? People aren't paying attention. They overspend. And then it comes tax time. They weren't paying attention. And then all of a sudden they owe 30 grand, right? They don't have a credit line. They don't have any cash in the bank. And they're like, oh, shit.
Oh, you don't hear about those stories very often, but you do hear about them.
They happen.
All the time.
So don't be that guy, right? Pay attention. Know what you owe as far as taxes go. Do your best, whatever stage you're in, to, offset your taxes. Keep your money in your own pocket, right? Keep putting it into your business. Use it for things that are going to keep making more money. That's the basic strategy of entrepreneurship, right?
Don't be floss balling and driving cars you can't afford and looking better, trying to look better than what you are. Like, be you and be humble and put your money, to Erik's point, where it's going to make you more money and it's going to create you more tax issue.
It's a simple strategy. I mean, the root of everything is that the difference between, a regular W-2 employee who goes to their job and they live off their income and an entrepreneur is they both make their income, right? One of the individuals uses that income to pay liabilities, right? And only liabilities. The other one uses this money to make more money. It's simple as that, right? They're taking their money, they're investing it in something, whether themselves, right, to do something, to grow in their own personal, to make more money, or they're putting it in a company, or they're putting it in a real estate investment, or they're putting it somewhere that money is going to generate more money. It's as simple as that, in my eyes.
Those are called assets. Assets are things that generate income. Liabilities are things that take away your income. It's pretty freaking simple. And house does not physically pay you every month. It is called a liability. For you that watch Grant Cardone and all the other real estate gurus, a personal home is a liability. You make income and you got to pay a house payment. Yeah, does it? You can go technicality. Does it go up in value? And yeah, do you pay down debt? Yeah, blah 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 blah. But it last time I checked, my house hasn't wrote me a check every month. Right?
Never will.
But my apartment complex does. My commercial industrial property does.
But it's an asset.
It's an asset. So assets generate income. Liabilities take your income.
Yep.
It's pretty simple. If you generate income, you pay taxes. If you don't pay taxes, because you probably bought more things that are going to generate income and you depreciate it or figure out some other way to offset it. What Erik was saying earlier is don't be stupid and go buy a bunch of liabilities Go put your money in things that are going to create income, which is going to be a lot better for you in the near future and long term about how you're going to maintain your lifestyle. Because what we've figured out, what's one thing we have figured out? Things change in the entrepreneurship world. People change positions. You think you have a good relationship with a construction company or a refinery or whatever. People retire and people change and economies change and technology changes and policies change and politicians change and the whole world is changing all the time. So be conservative. You know what I mean? Don't go just because you're high on the hog right now. Don't just go spend it on stupid things. That's when you go spend it on assets. It's going to generate you more guaranteed income, and then spend some of that money to go buy that car or go upgrade that house or go on that nice vacation you want or go buy your wife that purse that she's been wanting and she's been sitting by your side. You know what I mean? Or go buy that. In my case, it's always a shotgun, right? Or on that hunting trip or that whatever it may be that you think that's important that you've been working your tail end off for. It's okay to treat yourself to something. You know, I always think it's funny because when you let's just say a physician, right? A W-2 physician. They may, let's just say a good surgeon make $1 million a year. W-2 works for the hospital, you know, big hospital, makes a lot of money. W-2. He's probably in a 30-40% tax bracket minimum. Probably 40% tax bracket minimum. So he makes $1 million a year. $400,000 goes off the top, right? He gets an offset of that a little bit with 401k. Does a max on it. He goes up, fills up his gas tank, right? That gas that costs him $1 really costs him $1.40 because he's paying everything after taxes. Mm-hmm. That house payment was $1,000 is really maybe $1,400 or $1,350 depending on his tax bracket, right? Mm-hmm. Versus an entrepreneur, they go fill up their tax or they go fill up their tank and they get to expense it, which lowers their income, right? They pay tax on the highest amount. We pay tax on everything after all of our expenses. Hence why we are pro entrepreneurship, right? I don't know very many super wealthy people. There are a few out there that are W-2 employees. Yeah. Most of all the rich, wealthy families that you hear about and the wealthy individuals that you read about and you're probably around in everyday life and the people that you talk about are usually self-employed or some high-level CEO that is self-employed at some level.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of benefits to it, man.
There's so many. The system is designed. The system loves W-2 employees because they're going to get their money. It's easy. It's less work. It's easy for the employee too.
I mean, at the end of the day, the government can prove what you make that quick, right? They know what's going into your account right then and there. Yeah. Right. So they know, hey, I can tax this amount every time. Yeah. Right.
And then you got to pay everything after taxes.
Yeah.
Which sucks because you're like that pack of gum that was $1, now it's $1.30. Yeah. Versus that pack of gum, I bought it for a client, I got to expense it. It was just a normal everyday expense, you know. So let's wrap it up with
what is this?
What do you think this is?
What is
I'm going to give you 2 seconds. 1, 2. I'll tell you a story about this. So I was in Africa and we were hunting and a tribe came up to us and it was during COVID. And they said, hey, look, our tribe, our area of this country is really in need of some capital and we need some money. I said, okay, I'm over there hunting. And they said, we need this animal's about to die and for conservation purposes, it's either going to fall over and rot away and we get paid nothing, or you can pay us something and we will come in there and allow you to shoot this animal. And it was wild and it was running free, but it had they watch these animals over there like a hawk, and they said this thing's probably has 6 months to less than a year left to live at the best, and something's either gonna fall over or something's gonna kill it and eat it because it's fragile and it's old. And I said, well, okay, well, what kind of animal are you talking about? And they said, well, in this case, it's a giraffe. So this right here is a giraffe, an old giraffe. And you can look at the little, I forgot what they call these, but it's an old, and these aren't the eyes. The eye sockets are actually here. But long story short, I was over in Africa hunting, and these guys came to us and said, will you take this draft down? It needs to be taken, and it's going to cost you XYZ fee. And I had no intentions of shooting a draft. I've always seen them at the zoo, but these things are actually fast. They're tough. They're really hard animal to kill because they're super smart and they see a long way. They have really good eyesight. And I tracked this animal, and I had trackers, and we ended up getting it. And I never seen a celebration like this in my life. But this is the skull. I brought it back, and we actually took the leg bones. I don't know if I have one around here.
Let me go get it.
Yeah, I should go get one while I'm talking. I took the leg bones, and I really didn't think anything of it when I shot it. I shot it, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I was like, don't post it on Facebook. I'm gonna get killed on Facebook. But once you get over there and you understand the culture, you understand how important it is for us, to take animals over there, and the people over there can't afford to buy the permits to take them where they would take them themselves, right? So went over there, took this, and it was one of the most amazing experiences in my life over in Africa, and I can't wait to go back. I'm going to go back, and I took these. These are the leg bones on this thing, and if you can see this, it's kind of a really cool experience. But I don't know if you can focus in, but these are the leg bones of the giraffe, and you send these bones off, and they carve them into all these different animals over there. In this case, these are a Cape buffalo, a rhinoceros, and a lion, and a leopard. And then the different tribes over there, the different villages over there, they sign it. And there's usually one person in each area that has the artist mindset, and they can do this. And is this one yours?
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, I gave this one to Eric. This is one of the 4 leg bones over there. And if you feel those things, man, they are heavy and they are dense. But that animal I shot, this giraffe was particular. It was old. I don't know exactly how old. And it had the issue with it. And it was 27 or 28 foot tall. And it was massive. I had to hire a crane to come get it. And it was just, I probably had like 50, 60 people around me after I killed it. And they were just like going crazy. And I was like, what's the big deal? And they're like, hey, it's a big deal. Like, you just fed our people for like a couple months. And you're not talking about a little bit amount of people. You're talking about like 50 or 60, 70 people.
Yeah.
There's probably more than that. That's just the people that showed up for it, right? And it was a fun experience. But I wanted something to memory, and I gave Eric that leg bone because him and I are best friends, and I thought it would be something that unique and not somebody ever gifts somebody. I don't think anybody ever gave you another draft leg bone, have they?
No. Probably the one and only I get. Would be my assumption.
It's funny because this is our centerpiece of our table. It took me a couple years to get these mounts back. But nobody knows what this thing is. But probably because nobody would ever think that a redneck in Oklahoma would have a fucking draft skull on their table.
It's very unlikely.
So if you guess draft, you're smart, or you've been to Africa, or you've seen one of these yourself, because I guaranteed. Would you have ever guessed this was a giraffe?
I mean, this little thing here kind of gives it away a little bit. If you ever look at a giraffe, they got those little kind of weird looking horns.
And I don't know what they use those for.
Yeah, I don't either, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty gnarly, man. And
I got a big head. Look how big it is.
It's a pretty cool centerpiece, right? And a cool story too. Like, a lot of people, not everybody likes hunting and that whole thing, but when they understand the story behind it, and I'm glad you told that, right? Because it's not like he just went out there and shot something randomly. It was, hey, these guys came to him and said, hey, this thing's on the decline. It's going to die anyways, type of a situation. And not only did it give them money, it gave them food. It was a perfect scenario.
Dude, they took every little piece of this thing and they did something with it.
Yeah.
Like every little piece of this thing. And this thing was massive.
Yeah.
So they say draft meat's not good though.
I don't know.
But they eat a lot of things over there I would never eat.
But anyways, hope that stuff helps you today. Tune in next week. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and share with your friends. Appreciate it.